That's a running world record, and he takes the win.
So this one's from Dougal. He asks, what motivated you to sign with UA, and did you ever consider kind of joining Melbourne Track Club back in Australia when you finished university?
I just kind of knew that I wanted to stay based in America. Coming out of college, I really wanted to stay with my college coach, and I wanted to have an agent here in the US as well. It's just like a bigger market, and it's just easier, I think, here in the US. So those were the main reasons for that. And then Under Armour was or is like it's a newer company in the sport of running, and they offered me a lot more freedom than like some of the other companies kind of wanted to. They were letting me stay with my coach and kind of do things the way that I wanted to do them a bit more. And that was really cool to me, like that they like trusted me like that, and they were willing to support me um, on kind of what I felt like was like the best path for me personally. So that was probably the biggest reason. I mean, it was really exciting, like being with this company that, that because it is new, like it is just kind of like a bit more exciting, like they're trying out all these different new stuff, and it's pretty cool to be a part of that. So that was the biggest reason for signing with Under Armour as well, and they've supported me so well, so I'm really happy with that decision.
Yeah, because I also noticed that when you were with Wisconsin, your kit was also Under Armour. So
Yeah.
was that kind of like a logical shift? Like when they contacted you, did you think that like that was probably your maybe like a motivation that kind of played a part of it as well?
Yeah, I mean, to me personally, it was cool, but it wasn't massive. But to them, I think they were actively trying to sponsor um, athletes that were coming out of Under Armour schools. So something that I think was pretty cool and worked out in my favor.
Is there actually any downsides, would you say, to professionally running?
Um, just in general.
Yeah, just like life, like
Yeah, I mean, there kind of isn't, but there kind of is as well because um, if I want to get more serious with it, like obviously, yes, it's my dream and it's awesome, but it doesn't mean it's always easy. It can be dangerous when something like running becomes so important in your life, and you become so dependent on it, and it's like it's kind of your whole world because I mean, at the end of the day, it's just running, and so much of it is kind of out of your control, if you get injured or if something happens to you in a race. And so when your life is like fully revolving around running and those
mhm.
things happen, it can really have big impacts on you mentally and like with your mental health. And I've seen that happen to a lot of my friends in the sport. And that's happened to me at certain times as well, like struggling with like anxiety and just like not enjoying it as much. Like that's definitely happened to me through some of those tougher times. And so when you become a professional runner, it just becomes even more like a risk for that type of stuff, I think. But I think there are definitely ways to manage it, and obviously, I think that risk is worth it, and just kind of depends on the
Yeah.
person. But yeah, no, it is the dream. Like I love it, but that is something that it can be tough for some people sometimes, and I mean that was a big part of. I think I talked about this. I'm not sure. Maybe I talked about this in my first YouTube video about why I wanted to start a channel. It's because I just wanted to have something else in my life that I felt like I could work on aside from the running. I mean, obviously, my YouTube channel is tied to my running a lot, but it feels like an outlet for me. It feels like something else to go and do, like creating videos and editing them and stuff. And so I think that is helping me a lot in terms of not being just completely like running all the time. Because that can kind of be tough sometimes. I was thinking about it today actually because like my goal is to like kind of tell like authentic stories from my life through my channel. And so like things that for example, I mentioned this early before the podcast started. I think that I sprained my ankle a few days ago. And like that's something previously that like no one probably would have really known about. Like I would have
Yeah.
no one would know about that, and I would just like kind of do my thing. But now it's like um, I'm almost more accepting of those negatives because like it's like, well, actually, like this could be something that like would be really helpful for people to see, and they would actually be interested in seeing like the tough times and the negatives that pro runners deal with as well. So I think having an outlet to share those negatives rather than just like Instagram, some people do a good job at sharing negatives, but Instagram is so like positive, you know, like everyone, you know, will post like when they have a good race, but then there won't be any posts when there's a bad race. And that's kind of just like the reality of it. But yeah, I think having a better outlet for sharing the negative or the tough times as well could be very helpful for me and a good way for me to like, you know, reflect on them and learn from them.
Yeah, I was looking well at your kind of why you started a YouTube, and you said that you were really into kind of watching running YouTube and stuff. Were there any kind of YouTubers when you were younger that kind of like has spurred you on to kind of move into the YouTube scene at all?
So when I was younger, there wasn't any like actual running YouTubers that I knew of or that I watched, and I don't think really there are many out there at all, you know. Um, and there's still honestly like not many. Like actually, there probably are a lot more now, but in terms of like on a more elite level, like there's not too many. And but there was certain videos like there was like Flowtrack would kind of post a lot of stuff where they would like do a workout with a certain college team or with a certain pro runner, and they would do some other videos like they would do like these house tour videos and stuff as well. So there were ways um, to like watch the stuff, and I really did enjoy that. But there wasn't anyone really doing it and sharing as much of their story. I think is like, for example, what I'm trying to do today, or you see like a bunch of the other guys doing as well.
Yeah, so speaking of the bunch of the other guys, I saw you got a shout out by Tin Man Elite.
Yeah.
Are you friends with those guys? Because I saw you raced with them against them.
Yeah, no, I'm friends with them. I'm friends with a bunch of them.
Yeah, it must be so great to like have this kind of because you also live with is it Ollie Hall as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
and
right.
you've known him since like you've grown up with him. So when
Yeah.
you like, is it great just to when you are a pro runner to have this community around you and like kind of friends that can support
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I would say, um, especially on like the sharing the media side of it, like people are constantly pushing each other right now, which is cool. But then back in Boulder, like I haven't hung out with the Timon guys as much as you would think, like with the COVID and all that. Like
Yeah, of
we
course.
haven't really done a lot of socializing in that. But I'm hoping to eventually be able to catch up with them for runs and stuff. But just in general, like being surrounded by a lot of other pro runners, I find very helpful because you know everyone's kind of in the same boat. Everyone's you know, they just get it. Like everyone's struggling with similar issues, and everyone's, you know, there's a lot of people there with a lot more experience than myself, for example, that can help me out. And it's just a lot of fun. Like it's such a when you have a bunch of other people that have similar goals to you of trying to be like the best runner that they can, and they're chasing them every day. Like it's a very fun environment to be a part of. So I really do enjoy it.
Yeah. On the topic of Boulder as well, would you say like the altitude plays a big aspect into choosing Boulder or and like training up there where you are, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's not the biggest, to be honest. Like I think the altitude is definitely a nice benefit, but the altitude there isn't. I think that's a good amount to live at. Like it's actually
Yeah.
not super crazy for training. Like once you've been there for a bit, you don't really notice it too much, uh, which I think is a good thing because it while there are like big training benefits with being at altitude, like being there full time can be actually like a pretty big stress on your body in terms of like
Yeah.
it's like keeping like your iron levels up and all the other stuff. So I like being a Boulder for the altitude that it's at. But honestly, it's there's a bunch of other factors as to why Boulder is like such a poppin' like pro runner destination. I think there's just a lot of nice dirt roads to run on.
Yeah.
Um, there's the big history with like the buffs, you know, like I think a lot of it comes from like the book Running with the Buffaloes. To be honest, there's like a
Yeah.
big lore, like mythology, like of running in Boulder. But it's a pretty good place to train in. It's like a really nice town, nice university town. So yeah, it's just honestly like a nice place to be and train. But yeah, the altitude isn't the biggest factor, I don't think.
Yeah. That's definitely like really insightful into kind of like you as a professional runner. I really think that it's really been great chatting to you. I've only kind of actually got one question left. Like, do you have any like races coming up soon?
Um,
Is there ones you're
yeah,
looking forward to?
yeah. So I'm gonna race a 5K here in Austin, Texas, in a week from now. Which is will be what's the date today? It'll be on the 27th of February, a 5K, trials of miles or something. I don't really know what it's called to be honest, but I'm doing that one, which should be a great race. And then I'm not sure. There's a few other races happening, kind of like these early season races happening as well. But um, I might after that just take it easy for a couple weeks and then kind of get back into a solid training block and kind of to lead me into like that more normal, season, like starting like April onwards, kind of like do those races
Hmm.
here in America, and then hopefully get over to Europe and do like a nice racing block there as well. So those will be like my main races that I'm looking forward to.
I'm gonna try and ask kind of every professional runner that I have on the show. Um,
Uh-huh.
you've got three choices, and you can only choose one: cross
Hmm.
country, track, or road.
I can tell you now
Yeah,
that it wouldn't be track. It would be either cross country or road. And I think I haven't had like much experience like with a lot of road races. So maybe in the future it would be that after I've done more of them and if I like them. But up to this point, like most of my best memories in the sport come from cross country. So it
yeah,
definitely has to be cross country. And this is honestly something that I think about sometimes. I think I think the sport will do better and be much more interesting to people when it's more about pure racing. And I think the issue with track is that it becomes about times and time trialing, whereas cross country and the roads, it tends to be much more, especially cross country, it tends to be more about pure racing. So the more of that can happen on the professional level of the sport, I think the more engaging it will be for the viewers and just it'll be an overall cooler sport, I think. So I'm going to choose cross country.
Okay, great. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you, and like, thank you just so much for coming along and having a chat with me. As I said before, like before we started, I've been just such a big fan of yours recently, and I just can't wait to see like you smash your goals in the Olympics, and yeah.
Well, thanks, man.
So
Thanks for
thank
having me.
you.
This is a lot of fun. Hopefully I can do all right.